Hi everyone, come watch me transform these thrifted items, starting with this cabinet door that I already spray painted white. I'm going to be using these Tim Holtz decoupage papers, and I'm just going to cut out the sections I like and lay them out. We're going to be using matte Mod Podge to adhere the paper. Put a decent layer of the Mod Podge on. Just set it down and press it down till it's smooth. Now once I got all those adhered, there were a few empty spots, so I just cut some small pieces of the decoupage paper and filled in any gaps or plain spots. Then I let the Mod Podge dry completely, and we'll use an X-Acto knife to cut off the excess. Then we're going to be using Tim Holtz Distress ink. I have this stamp mat, and you can stamp the ink on and mix with some water, and it becomes like watercolor. And since there's color on some of the decoupage paper but not on the other kind, I wanted to blend them together so it looks cohesive, like they were all supposed to be together to begin with. So I start off with the green to do all the leaves, and those birds are pink on the already colored paper, so I wanted it to go throughout the piece. And I just did like the flowers and some of the writing, just kind of sprinkled a little bit here and a little bit there. So then I took brown, and I wanted to age the piece a little bit and also really tie it all together. So I made it a little bit darker on the edges, and I kind of went over all of it with a bit of it really watered down to give it kind of like a sepia tone, and then it wasn't so bright white and it looks aged and okay, I mixed some Waverly fern and plaster together to come up with this light green. Thought it looked very springy, or looked good with the white. And once the paint dries, I went back with some 220 grit sandpaper and lightly sanded down all the raised edges. There you can see. Give it a distressed look. And then I used my matte polyacrylic to seal in the decoupage paper. And I also went over the painted part as well on both sides. Now I feel like it looks like it was all one piece. It's all tied together. Okay, I thrifted this decorative hanger and I thought it was cute but needed a little facelift. I had the leftover green from the cabinet door and decided that I'd use it on this too. I put about 2 coats on the front and the back. And chalk paint covers and adheres pretty good. Look at the difference. But then we're going to seal it in with the polyacrylic. And once the polyacrylic's all dried, I did front and back, we're going to take some gold rub and buff. You put just a small amount on your brush and then go over all the raised edges, sort of like dry brushing. And it just pops all the details out. And once you get all the rub and buff on and you let it dry a little bit, you can go back with a cloth or a paper towel and rub it, and it makes it a little bit shinier. And it'll make it pop a little more. Look at the difference. Alright, now we're gonna do this picnic basket. I've had it for a while and I've already spray painted the bottom part and dry brushed some white on the basket. But the lid is the part that needs finished. The layer on top was already separating, so I peeled it off. Then this little bit was like glued on and I couldn't get it off, and I almost stabbed myself with my screwdriver, so I just left it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some fabric. I had this fabric and I thought it matched the color of the basket pretty good, and I just cut it about the size of the basket with a little bit over the edges. Then we're going to use Mod Podge again, and we're going to put a thick coat down. You want it pretty thick so it doesn't soak into the wood too much, and that there's still enough for it to go into the fabric. Because in this case we want it to like saturate the fabric, and then just press it down. So I just did section by section so the Mod Podge doesn't dry up. And you can press it down, it sticks, and it's flat. You didn't have to iron it. Then I put a thick coat on top and make sure all of it was sealed in. And then I went around the edges on the inside and cut off the excess, just doing the same process. Then I cut a piece that will be the size of the inside of the lid, and we're just going to do the same thing. Put down some Mod Podge, section at a time, press it down. coat the top with the Mod Podge. Make sure it gets everywhere. Make sure the edges are glued down good. And then I let this dry completely. And I wanted to add some more dry brushing. See, this is what it looks like dry. Looks like it was meant to be there. So when I dry brushed it before, I missed like a lot of spots. I don't know. So I had to go back in and add some more dry brushing with the white. I added some more like the handles I didn't do. And there's just a lot of missing spots. So I did some up and down. So it just kind of filled in all the missing spots. And then I decided, the top needed some dry brushing as well. Just to tie it together more. I didn't want to make it too much though. So went a little one way, then go the other way. And do a couple diagonals. You can still see the pattern, but it just kind of ties the whole thing, the basket and the lid together. And I made this little decorative tag just to add some contrast and interest. And this is what it looks like all done. I gave it a new life.